And we are live. I'm here with Hayleigh Heather. Hayleigh, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's awesome to be on one, to be honest. I'm glad to do this. This is the first podcast I've done.
It's the first one I've done for ages, definitely the first one of 2022. And it's a really good one. It's a really fun story because you're the only Welsh representative going to the IMMAF World Championships. Like, what an amazing achievement.
I know it's all a bit mad. I'm so happy that Ricky and the guys from MMA Cymru have been able to help sort this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely exciting.
So tell us how it came about because you're actually traveling over with the England team and their coaches, right?
Yeah. So from my understanding of it, but this is the athlete side, like not the admin side. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Ricky and Christy and everyone else from Team Cymru have gone and done. But I think I was the only athlete that was really keen and really pushing for this.
Right.
And that probably has something to do with the fact that as a smaller female fighter, it can be quite hard to
Yeah.
find matches anyway. So if you want great challenges, like what better than the IMAFs? So Ricky, I think, has sweet talked Emma. Emma's been happy to take me on board, and it's just been great. It's been like the more the merrier. So yeah.
Yeah. You're so right as well, for females of any weight class really, and like even the lighter weight classes for guys, I just think it's such an amazing thing to do. And like you it's quite a small pool of people here who want to fight in your category. So it's just a great way you can get a few fights in a week if all goes well.
Yeah, ideally.
And also, your first ever fight was at the IMMAF Championships, and I believe it was against Marie Spencer, who's now in
It
the
was.
English coaching team, right?
Yeah, 100%. That was a mad experience in itself. So Marie, I'd known about Marie and I'd been struggling to get matches and fights because between one thing and another, shows clash, dates don't work
Yeah,
out for certain coaches. It's just really difficult to get things like the stars to align and there to actually be a fight. So the first definite opportunity that came up for me was IMAFs. So we went out there with Welsh squad and it was totally separate to England.
yeah,
And I got Marie drawn, and honestly, my reaction was like, "Oh no, I've flown all the way out to Italy, and then I've drawn someone who is actually from the pool of people that I could have fought at home." And I'm sure
yeah.
Marie felt exactly the same. So yeah,
It is a shame when you've gone all that way, and you want to be. You could have fought her on a local card when you got home, but it's one of those things about MMA that I love the way that people come back together in a totally different way, and now you're flying out there, and
oh yeah,
she's part of the
me and
England
Marie
team.
actually had a great chat this morning at the England team training today, and it's just nice catching up. I think like now that that fight's done, all the women just want to see the women do as well as they can. So yeah, it's a great little community, I suppose. The
Hundred
female fighters
percent.
there.
So have you been training with the England squad when they catch up with each other as well,
Just
or just
today,
today?
today's the first one that I've been able to attend. Yeah.
And medicals are done, so that standpoint seems good.
Yeah, that's one thing all boxed off, which is nice. Like the to-do list for the athlete side of this, for IMAFs is like quite long. So there's a few different things that you need to do that you wouldn't normally do for home shows. So
Yeah,
every time you get one of those things boxed off, it feels great. It's like that one
yeah.
step closer.
And tell us, there's one outstanding area, or I believe it's still outstanding, that's kind of hanging over you about whether you'll be able to get out there. Are we any closer to resolving that?
As it stands, no, we're waiting still on answers. So there, I think from my understanding of it, Marie has been pestering IMAF for behalf of like a good number of us to try and see if we can get there because obviously Abu Dhabi changed its listing, so the UK got put on the red list. So that has affected whether some of us are able to travel over there or not.
Right.
Still
because you're
waiting.
not vaccinated.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just COVID has got so much to answer to
I know, I know. That was
for.
only that was 6 days ago that that happened, and so yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind trying to find different ways around it, and
I think
yeah,
just the ever changing nature of it just makes it impossible to know from, and that basically until you get on the plane whether you're like meeting the criteria or not.
yeah. You just can't predict it, because every government, like we know this from the UK, like between England, Ireland, and Wales, Scotland, every single one's got a different way of dealing with it and trying
Yeah,
to um put their safeguards in place. But then
yeah,
you're dealing with multiple countries' regulations, I suppose, and they evolve, like you said, really quickly.
yeah. And you're just never sure when they're going to change, even if you're okay one day, just a week down the line things can be totally different.
Ideally, it'll just change back and they'll just put us back on the green list and we'll all be good to go. But it's yeah, still
It's a
waiting
bit
to see.
now biting, isn't it? Because the championships start on the 24th of Jan, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We need to arrive there by the 22nd, though.
Right.
So registration takes place on the 23rd, and then you could be fighting on the 24th.
God, it's an absolute nightmare, isn't it? Ricky White saying hello. Good to
Hey,
see you
Ricky.
tuning in, Ricky. So since that fight with Marie at your first IMMAF, you've got 2 TKO victories, and you must feel that you've grown so much since then. And like you said about local shows just being difficult to put on at the moment, and obviously, yeah, like not being loads of females at your weight class,
Yeah.
you must be desperate to get back in there and show what you've
So,
improved on and how much you've changed.
so keen. It can be frustrating when you watch the months go past without there being a yardstick, I suppose. I think that's how everyone sees their fights, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's a measuring stick for how much you've improved between fights. So yeah, you really do want, and you want to test yourself against opponents that weigh the same as you. Like that's a huge thing.
Because tell me about your gym. It's I mean, you've got some great people there, but you've said, I've seen in some of your posts that it's a small gym and you look like you're one of the few females, and I know that you've been traveling miles and miles to get training in with ladies closer to your weight.
Yeah. Um, I love my gym, and there's quite a few lads that are on the smaller side, but I'm still easily giving away like 10 kilo at a time, maybe 15 for the smaller guys.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just part and parcel of it. We've got Aaron Avey there, who's like a phenomenal coach. He
And
competed
shout
himself.
out to him, he's great win on Cage Warriors recently.
Yeah, 100%. Went down to watch that one live. That was so good. And it was so nice to be able to be in a venue where there was a crowd and there was an atmosphere. And yeah, and then for him to get the win as well, like obviously that tops it off. I'm
Yeah,
sure everyone
superb.
feels like that. Yeah, so it was a great performance as well.
Yeah. So, but you have really been putting in the miles to try and train with some girls, and you've got some great training in. I see that you've trained with Lexi Rook last year, and you trained with Megan Morris, and like you. But did you do? Was it 400 miles you drove the week before Christmas?
Yeah, that was yeah, I loved it. Like if you asked me to drive 400 miles for work, I think I'd tell you to jog on, but because it's MMA, it's exciting and it's a road trip and it's 100% what I want to do. It just feels right. Meg Morris has been amazing. She's properly took me under her wing, so I've had quite a few training sessions in with her, which has been incredible. And she's got a load of experience competing in IMAFs as well. So
Yeah, been in your shoes, and she's
yeah,
champion as well, wasn't she?
yeah, she's done really well at it. And she's turned pro now, and she had her first win.
Yeah,
Um,
big
yeah,
win.
so but she's an amazing training partner for me as well. Yeah, like you said, in my gym for MMA, I'm currently the only girl.
Mhm.
We have a couple of others that do jiu-jitsu or who do kickboxing, but don't do both at the minute. So we've got some
Yeah.
young ones. So maybe in the future.
Glenn Williams has tuned in and he says, do you still count yourself as a striker even though you smashed your last Jits comp?
I don't know. That one's a really hard one to answer. I think I might love jiu-jitsu more now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a chess game, isn't it, jiu-jitsu? So I think
Yeah.
there's so much more to learn in jiu-jitsu. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. So tell me how you got into the sport. So Glenn said you were a striker initially. Like, how did you get into MMA to begin with?
Oh, so I started off probably people would have said as a boxer, but I didn't really have many matches or competitions for that either. Um, I I did karate as a child when I was very young, and that was mainly for my brother. It was something that we did together with my dad, and then I got bored of that. You know, you go through that phase where you just decide something isn't for you. And I found going out and hanging around with boys, and I just sort of quit. And then I went to university and I started to get my head together a bit more, and I started doing rugby. I fell from rugby into boxing for something to keep fit in the summer and loved it. And it all sort of snowballed from there. And then I switched gyms, and the gym that I found was IPC.
Yep.
And
Where
IPC
you are
had,
now.
yeah. And IPC had jiu-jitsu there. And honestly, the first time I tried it, I didn't think I would like it. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like karate, and the karate that I had done had been very kata focused. So there was a lot more learning the moves but not applying them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in my head what I believe martial arts were. So I tried
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu thinking I was gonna hate it, and immediately loved it, and it all just kind of snowballed from that. Like, yeah, just found the right gym, found the people that made me happy to be there, and yeah, snowballed.
What I loved about jiu-jitsu was when just at the end of the first class they were like, okay, spar. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
You, like you say about karate, like when you learn all the moves and you can't actually put it into action, it gets kind of stale after a while, a bit boring, doesn't it? But
yeah, definitely.
to kind
Um,
of like be able to try and execute what you've learned is straight away is quite fun.
Yeah, and they simplified it so much when I first started to, okay, if you're on the bottom, you need to get on top, and it was that simple approach meant that you could be really quite competitive with it quite quickly,
Yeah.
and then you always get that buzz, don't you? Even if it's
Hmm.
just did you manage to get out from underneath them, or did you not let them stand up? Like you can have such achievable milestones when you first start.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely
Yeah.
helps with jiu-jitsu, I think. Do you know what the
Ricky
other thing
writes,
I found though?
go on, sorry.
The other thing I found that I really loved about jiu-jitsu was that the smaller person, you could see in the gym that the smaller person could genuinely win. It was more about if you knew what to do next.
100%. Yeah, that just is a game changer. And if you are the smallest person in the gym and you're used to just getting beaten on the whole time, it's quite gratifying to know if you put the work in and the time into jiu-jitsu that you can be better than the bigger people.
Yeah, definitely.
Ricky Wright says, do you really live in a van?
I really do, but right now I am definitely not in a van. So yeah, right now not in a van, but most of the time, yeah, in said van.
What kind of van?
It's a camper van. It's a Renault Master, and
Right.
I bought it converted, and I live in that.
Amazing. And is that what you
Yeah,
take when you go up and down the country, like
it hasn't
training at
been.
other gyms?
It hasn't been for that 400-mile trip. I've got like a little car as well, and it was my tiny little micro that made that journey because that is cheaper than the van, and I had
Yeah.
places to stay. But the van has been like massively useful when I've entered comps. So some of the competitions are in Leeds, and you can just drive the camper van up the night before and then stay in it and compete the next day, and that your
Where
food's
can
there,
you
your coffee's there.
stay?
I just park up wherever it doesn't annoy anyone and stay there. So that's pretty much it. There's some great apps that kind of give you ideas for places, but yeah, just as long as it's not gonna upset or frustrate anyone, pretty much just park up and
Oh, it makes me better
yeah.
to know that you've got your MMA training. Feel better to know that you'll be safe doing that.
It
So
feels
you've,
the first night I ever stayed in the van, I was a little bit nervous.
yeah,
Um, but it's absolutely fine once you've done it once. It's like that fear of the unknown rather than it actually feeling scary.
yeah. So you really are putting everything into this IMMAF tournament, like the miles you're putting in, the work you're putting in, the fact that you're going. I'm sure Team England are absolutely welcoming you with open arms, but you are the only Welsh representative. Like, you just need a little bit of something back from people. I'm sure, like, are you looking for help? Are you looking for sponsors? You know, how are you
Yeah.
getting there? Because we all know how expensive it is.
I have been really fortunate and I set up a GoFundMe page and so many people have contributed to that. So there's quite a few different gyms that I train at, and various people from different places have contributed. I've got a local company called the Zenden. Shout out, thanks Leah. She's sponsored me for my last fight, and she's incredible. She does the cupping massage stuff.
Oh
You
yeah,
get the
yeah.
yeah. She does that, so she sponsored me and has had faith in me, which I really appreciate. Barnstaple, their jiu-jitsu club, has given me a little bit of money. So that there's a lot of people who've chipped in. There's still spaces if there's any companies out there that want to sponsor me. The t-shirt hasn't been fully printed, but it's basically been a pool of people who have put in and have massively helped. So yeah, otherwise it would have just been me funding
So there's
myself.
still space on the t-shirt if people
Still
want
space on it.
to help you, and I'm sure you could still do with some extra help if anybody local or not local wants to help you out. Like, I think it's amazing for people to go over there and do that. I really, really do. And I think it's amazing that you're going as the only Welsh rep. Glenn says, being the only Welsh, are you going to miss your team?
Yeah, definitely. Like, who am I going to hang around with and eat pizza with afterwards? It was really great. Glenn went with me the first time that I did IMAFs, and yeah, the social aspect of it was fantastic. To be around a bunch of other people who were equally passionate about MMA, and I haven't always been the sort of person that's felt like they've fitted in, but as soon as you go to somewhere like the IMAFs and you all get to be equally obsessed about the same kind of thing,
Yeah.
you just vibe off each other. It's great.
Yeah, I do think MMA is a great way of bringing people together. I think there's a lot of MMA fighters, or basically any martial arts, like, a lot of people have that story where they feel that they, like, haven't always fitted in the easiest, or haven't had loads of friends, or whatever. It just seems to be a great way of bringing people together.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Even doing so Chris Reese's Academy ran the jiu-jitsu seminars down in Swansea at their place, and you just, even though that's not MMA, even though that's just jiu-jitsu, again, you just feel like you slot right in.
Yeah.
It's just really nice. Yeah.
So before we go, is there anyone else that you want to give a shout out to? I know you mentioned some of your sponsors there. Is there anyone else that you'd like to thank?
Yeah, there is. So I've been working with Matt Gallagher, and he does sort of mental coaching with me, and I would definitely like to give him a shout out. He's massively helped me and um how I talk to myself during rounds and things like that. He is really positive influence. So I would say if anyone is struggling with their own self-talk and things like that, Matt is a great person to get some coaching from. As well, Megan Morris helping me out massively in this camp. It's been a little ray of sunshine to go and train with on a Tuesday. So I really enjoy my Tuesdays with her. Steve Nightingale in Reps Gym, letting me come and do the wrestling classes with him. Andrew Fisher, again, welcome me up to his gym with open arms. All of the English MMA squad. There's so many people, as soon as you ask for help, that couldn't be happier than to give you a hand. So there's so many people really that I am grateful for that have helped me out.
Oh, I love that so much. I really, really, really hope that the entry into Abu Dhabi gets sorted out and, you know, everything goes as planned. Oh, I think you missed someone.
Oh, Ricky, Ricky and Christy have both been doing all of the admin side of it. So shout out to them because I wouldn't have had a clue where to start.
Glenn wants to thank you as well.
Glenn, you can have a shout out too, helping me sort out this podcast. Cheers.
Yeah, as I say, I just really, really hope that you get over there. You know, you've put so much into it, and it's just very. I just think it's one of the best things you can do as an amateur to not know who you're going to be competing against and to have to make weight on a daily basis, possibly for up to a week. You know, it's absolute craziness, but I just think it's such a great experience and I'd love for as many people to do it as possible. And I think it's absolutely brilliant that you're going and flying the flag for Wales. I'm sure they're all so proud of you.
It's definitely great. Like you said, I think it really forces you to sort of focus on your own game and the only areas where you need to improve. So for an amateur MMA fighter, it's such a positive experience because you can't be focused on anybody else other than your own improvement.
Yeah, that is what I love about it. Glenn says, and cornering in Coventry. You're welcome. And I really think you're going to smash this one. So I think we all think that, Hayleigh. We've just got to get you there now.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've got all of the toes crossed, all of my fingers crossed, and
Yeah.
I'm looking for a way to get there. Definitely.
Just please keep us updated on your social media because I really need to find out how the story goes from here.
As soon as I know, you'll know, promise.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hayleigh, and we wish you all the very best of skill out there.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care.